this is our new system, the Grainfather G40. I've upgraded. I haven't actually set it up or anything, like I've just literally taken it out of the box and put everything aside, and I just wanted to do a video on first kind of impressions, what I think and why I bought it in the first place. So the first thing I have to say, when they were taking it off the lorry, it was coming to me on a pallet. That's how big this thing is. It kind of took me a little bit by surprise just how wide it is. So to illustrate, so this is the lid that fits the other system, the Robo Brew, and it will be the same for the G30 because those two systems are pretty much the same. And there's the lid for this one. Look at the difference in size between those. That is best, like a shield. Captain America's shield. So that was the first thing that struck me. So if you're going to buy one of these, you need to make sure you've got space. Now, fortunately, I have space in here. Although I have had to do a lot of clearing away of stuff, of old kind of stuff, reorganizing just to fit it in. But yeah, normally I put the stuff there. When I lifted that up to put it there, it's quite a strain as well. So it's quite heavy on. I think it's 29 kilos, something like that. So that's quite substantial, and that's empty as well too. So that's the first thing. The second thing then, let's get the lid off. The second thing is this. This is very good. This is a sight glass. So I always had an issue before. When you take the basket out, let me actually use the handle. By the way, the handle is nice and thick. See the big groove they've cut into it? So that fills me with a little bit more confidence when I'm lifting the stuff out. I'll still be checking it. I'll still be checking it's in properly on both sides, because if you're lifting that out and it's like 10 or 12 kilos of grain in like 40 litres, oh, imagine. Okay. So it's the same setup as the previous version. Lift it up, twist it round, and it sits on a little ring going around the outside of the pot. We've got these things which it sits on, rather than on the Robo Brew there's just these little tiny wedges it sits on. This is a lot more kind of stable. It looks like it needs to be, obviously, because there's going to be a lot more grain on it. So yeah, so we're talking about the sight glass. When I had it in that position, which is what you're draining the grain from the basket, and you're doing the sparge on the Robo Brew, you can't see the markings because the markings are on the inside of the pot, down the back. So when you're like that, you obviously can't see how much is in it unless you like either pull the thing to the side like that or lift it off entirely. So that was always something that annoyed me when I was doing it like that. So that is a very good thing. The sight glass is a very good thing. Also, when we got the basket out, there's no overflow pipe going down the middle, which is another thing that kind of annoyed me. There's also no top plate that goes on it as well. Now those two things not being there is definitely not a problem for me. I never liked those at any point. It just seemed a bit pointless, to be honest. So I'm very happy with that. I always found that the overflow pipe, trying to get in with the whisk and trying to mash in properly with that pipe stuck in it in the middle, and it was very kind of flimsy, and it would, because it's like in two parts, it's just very flimsy, and I never liked it. And then with the top plate, you have the top plate in there, you can't see, you have no idea what's going on when you're recirculating the mash because you can't see past it. So you have no idea what's going on. That all kind of bothered me to the point where I just stopped using it altogether and just went with an old school bag, and that solved a lot of my problems. So yeah, there's that as well. So there's plenty of room in there now where you can mash in, which is good. The one thing I would say though is that I normally use Whiskzilla. We may have the Retire Whiskzilla because it's just a little bit too big for that. There's where it goes up to there. So that's not a very comfortable position, having to hold the handle away up here. So I need something a bit smaller, I think. The Whiskzilla may well, we'll still use that in our first brew, see how it goes, but we may have to retire that. So the other good things then are the control panel goes there, which is not like the Robo Brew way down the bottom. So if you want to change anything, you either have to bend the way over like that, or you have to literally get on the ground and do it, which is another annoyance. So that is very good there. I've also noticed that there's no tap. There's no tap on the front of it, on the actual pot itself. So, I mean, that means the only way to get the wort out is by the pump. So the pump had better not get blocked. Otherwise, the only other option, because it's obviously too heavy, it's going to be too heavy to tip into a fermenter. So the only other option then is to get the old auto siphon out and just and get it out that way. So please don't make me do that, Grainfather. Please don't make me do that. Make sure that pump works. We'll have a look at the pump protection, let's call it, in a minute. But yeah, so that's a good thing as well. Just while we have it out, there is, I haven't actually wired it up or anything like that, obviously, but yeah, that's the control panel there. This is all controlled via Wi-Fi and an app on your phone as well too. So I think you just get your phone up, you press the button from work, and then by the time you get home from work there should be beer, chilled and carbonated in that, and you can just pour it off. I think that's the way it works, isn't it? Something like that. Got this, look at this. Look at the size of this. Bloody, I'm not just saying, and I don't mean size as in long, it's very long, which is good, because I'm going to be plugging it in next door. But yeah, very long, which is very good. But look how thick the wire is. Look how thick that wire is. That is massive. So that kind of implies that there's going to be a lot of power going through that. So it does definitely need to be in the socket. We've learnt our lesson there as well too. The element in that is, I think it's 2,900 watts. So that's a bit of a step up then from the Robo. I think it was like 2,500, wasn't it? Something like that. 2,400. We've got this little box here. Let me see. I actually forgot what's in this box. There's little bits and pieces. Yeah, we've got this, which I've seen on other people's videos. It's going on the pump, and then you kind of recirculate the mash using this. But it kind of goes around like that, so it kind of spins it round. It's more like a whirlpool. I've never heard of anyone whirlpooling the mash, but we'll see how it works and if it's any good. But yeah, there's that, and then there's this little packet of like an engagement ring from no, it's not, it's just spare parts, whatever that is. Haven't even opened it. There's this, which is obviously some kind of barb on a tap. I'm not really sure what that's for yet. I'm working on it yet. And then like a little washer connector, and then oh yeah, the other thing, and this is another reason why I wanted it. It's a counterflow chiller. It's the counterflow chiller, yes. So we wanted one of these for the longest time. I've always used immersion chillers, and you know, they do the job. They do the job that they're intended to. One of the things, yeah, I know I keep saying one of the things that annoyed me about this. Another thing that annoyed me about that Robo Brew in particular, as good a system as it was, don't get me wrong, I know I talk a lot of rubbish about the Robo Brew, but it is a good system. I've made a lot of very good beer on that system, so it's not a bad system at all. I made a lot of rubbish as well, it has to be said, but a lot of good stuff. But the chiller on that, which is, really should have had that sitting out. So that is the chiller there, which is a chiller for that size of grain basket will be perfect. But the grain basket on the Robo Brew is, or the pot itself is down to about there. So it's sitting like that, effectively. So what happens, especially when you're doing not a full batch, so anything less than, like, you're doing a boil less than 20 litres, say, half of that, by the time it finishes, half of that is not even in, is sitting on top of the wort, and half is in. So really, I end up getting a whirlpool arm, which works a treat as well in combination with that. But that's the only way I could fix that, is by buying another bit, something else. So with this, this should solve any problems like that. If I'm doing smaller batches, anything at all, and it should be more efficient in theory. Well, I'll be very much looking forward to seeing how this thing performs, especially in the summertime as well. But yeah, that was one of the big selling points, I think, for me. And also the big selling point is the fact that it's 40 litres. I can get 40 litre, a double batch. I can fill 2 kegs at the same time, and that is a very big selling point as well, which is why I wanted to do that. So yeah, let's have a look inside. I'll show you inside. Just before we start, there's the sight glass up to 45 litres. That was a godsend. Anyway, so this is the basket. It comes in, there's only 2 parts, which, as we've mentioned, is very good for cleaning. It's got a little lip, you see, around the outside there. So hopefully when that's in, that'll stop too many grains from coming through. Again, how good it's going to be around the outside, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, that's a good solid bit of kit. Again, the basket there, it is there. I'll just lift that off. There's what it sits on around the outside. That is removable, that part, I think. Okay, and then here we go inside. First of all, there's 2 thermometers. There's one there. I think it takes an average reading between the 2. And then this is our base plate. So round the outside. So this is what we don't want anything getting through there, or as little as possible trying to get through that. That feels fairly well sealed, it has to be said. It remains to be seen, obviously, what it performs like, but it seems okay. Take this off. You can see that it has one layer of protection there, and then another separate layer of protection there in the center, and then bang in the center, it's protecting another thermometer, and it's protecting that hole is for the pump where the liquid goes down, where the wort goes down. And then also the base is slightly conical as well too. It's not huge, like, but that should help then this thermometer doesn't get clogged up with crap, and obviously the 2 protection should help this one. So we should, in theory, famous last words, get a more accurate reading than I was before in the Robo Brew, because this is another thing. It's on a flat bottom, and it only had basically one layer of protection. And I found that anytime I couldn't use like loose hops in the boil, because it would just mess up the thermometer, and then any kind of hop stand would be inaccurate, and then I would end up with bitter beers a lot of the time. So that's why I went over to hop bags. And then obviously the pump was getting blocked all the time. We'll see how good this is, but I'm very happy with how that looks on the 2 layers of protection around the outside and then inside. I think that is a good idea. In terms of the actual quality, I mean, it looks dead on. This is obviously where the handles are. Everything looks decent. It's good, solid bit of kit as well. So, yeah, it would need to be decent because it's £1,100, which is not cheap. Okay, so that is the G40. I mean, I have to say I'm quite pleased with what I've seen straight out of the box. Our first brew day will be probably this weekend, I think, or as soon as possible. I would like to use, because, you know, I'm a child with a new toy, and a very expensive toy at that, so I would like to use it. Don't think we're going to go straight in for 40 litre batch just yet. I'm not ready because I don't really know how the system's going to perform, so I'm thinking maybe we will be conservative about it and we will do a batch that I would normally brew on the RoboBrew, 20 litres on this, and we'll see what the differences are between them. I don't know anything about the app. I've never used it before. I know absolutely nothing. I haven't even installed it yet. So I'm a bit wary about going straight in and doing 40 litres. So I need to set it up, figure out how it works, get some kind of simple recipe to do on first time. I need to get it cleaned and washed as well too, give it a good oxy bath some point today, and then over the weekend we'll do a beer. So very much looking forward to using it. Yeah, so I shall see you on the brew day itself, so see you then.